And I think we're live this morning. Didn't count me in, so it was a bit weird. Sorry about that. I'm just checking. Yep, I think we're live. There you go. Didn't count me in. Don't know whether they've changed it or what they're doing, but good morning. Welcome to Saturday again. And our usual slot at this point of talking about the blog for this week, which was all about all or nothing thinking. And I asked the question, is all or nothing thinking keeping you stuck? And, preventing you from fulfilling your dreams, your goals, moving forward in life? Is it basically, hampering you in, keeping you very narrow focused? And that's what it does. So, I'm Deborah Byrne. I'm from DBpsychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. And so, what is all or nothing thinking? It's also known as black and white thinking. In other words, we think in extremes. So it's an either or situation. So you either have a world of possibilities, a world of solutions, are actually very much condensed down and very limited to either one or two possibilities or one or two solutions. It's either or. Very, very black and white thinking. In extremes, that kind of thinking. You might see this particularly around people that have perfectionist tendencies, people pleasers, codependents, procrastinators as well might use this. But it's a very, very common thing to use. Now, you may not use this particular type of cognitive distortion in all areas of your life. In other words, you might not use this kind of negative, it's a type of negative thinking. And I've talked about negative thinking before, and I've talked about cognitive distortions before. So do check out those videos. But, it's very common, and that's why I want to highlight it. We can get very narrow focused in this. And this is when it starts to get stuck, because if neither solution or neither possibility is palatable to you, in other words, you're backed into a corner and you really then get stuck in, because you don't want it's a lose-lose situation as far as you're concerned. That's when we start to get stuck, and that's when our stress goes up. That's when our anxiety goes up. If you have depression, if you have worries or fears, they're all going to be fed by this negative cycle. And it is a negative cycle, because you've reduced your world down so much to this either or, this all or nothing or black and white thinking, that it really is an inaccurate picture of reality. There's no grey. And there is always grey. There is always a third, fourth, fifth, sixth solution possibility out there. But because of the way your brain has decided to treat your reality, you've really narrowed down your focus too much. Now, this can have huge implications for your mind and your body, because it does affect your body just as much as your mind. And I've listed out quite a number of ways that happens in the blog, so I'm not going to go into those. So do check that blog out. It's at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com. But do remember, it's going to push up your anxiety levels. It's going to push up your stress levels. And if you're prone to depression, it's going to make it worse. So, you really need to get a handle on this kind of type of thinking. And as I said, very, very common among most people that we will use this in some form, in maybe one area of our life. Maybe it's just in your personal life. Maybe it's just you only use it in work, or only when you deal with one particular person. And that can happen. They can trigger you and you go into this all or nothing thinking. So we have to really get a plan in place. And that's what I want to concentrate on this morning, is, a plan. Now, this plan, you can use this plan with other types of negative thinking or other types of what we would call cognitive distortions. That's just a fancy way of saying negative thinking. You can use that. And if you want something more detailed than this, if you want to really get into the nitty-gritty, to understand how your brain works, to understand how you can go into each one of these points in more detail, then, come and join my free group. I'm going to leave a link in the description. You can pop in, do it. There's a whole module. It's quite an extensive training on negative thinking. It would take you, I'd say, about a month to go through it all. And so it's quite a long training. It's hours and hours of training in there, and it's all free. You can take your time, do it in your own time. There's no time limit on it, and you also have then the added bonus of being able to contact me and talk to me privately as well if you want. You don't have to just post in the group. I always say that to my mums, that you have that added bonus of talking to me, all for nothing. So get back to the 5-point plan. So the first step, as I always tell anybody that works with me, is awareness. If you don't know about it, if you don't know you're doing something, then you can't change it. You have to identify, what's going on for you. So when and where do you think you're using this type of thinking? Notice your triggers. You've got to notice the triggers. Who's triggering you? What's triggering you? What situations are triggering you? As I said, it can be in a particular area of your life, and we've lots of areas of our lives. It could be a family member only, it could be a friend that you do it with, it could be a boss, it could be an employee, it could be anywhere in your life you could use this. So recognize it, and also recognize that this is a habit. Negative thinking is a habit. We get into this habit. And point 2 then is a way of helping you do that, because you're not going to do that on the fly, as what I call on the fly or on the go. You're not going to do it automatically. That's the goal. That will be your goal. Eventual goal is to recognize your negative thinking on the go, and to be able to correct it and challenge it on the go. But to help you, with point 1, which is awareness, we use what's called reflection. So get your old journal out. So, some sort of notebook. Doesn't have to be an expensive notebook, something out of the local supermarket, euro shop, pound shops, dollar store, whatever it is, wherever you are in your world. Get one, a cheap notebook, and get it out and use reflection. Now, in that, I would say to you, set aside about 20 minutes for this, because what I always say to people is do a little bit of a breather first, calm yourself down, few deep breaths, maybe a 3-minute breather, which I have a link to in the blog, how to do the 3-minute breather. Very effective deep breathing technique, by the way, and you can use it anywhere on the go. So doing something like that, and then do a brain dump. So clear the decks, in other words. You want to just get down everything that's popping into your head, get all that stuff out of the way, and then go back and reflect through different people, different situations you dealt with in the day. Allow the thoughts to come up. What was going on? How did you behave with that person? Allow yourself to recognize the patterns of behavior and thinking and emotions, that's triggering you. What was I using? All or nothing thinking? Maybe you were using a different form of negative thinking. And then when you start to recognize it, the next point is to challenge it. You can't let it sit unchallenged. As I said in the training yesterday with my free group, we did one on building self-esteem yesterday, is when you're challenging something like that, you're not just challenging what's going on internally for you, the internal comments, you're also challenging just on paper. You don't have to go and confront anybody, but the external comments. Externally, what are people saying to you? Are they, being nasty to you? Don't leave that unchallenged, even if it's just with yourself and on paper. Challenge it. What evidence is there? Is it true? Is it not? You want to start seeing the grey areas. It can't be just, black or white, all or nothing. What is it affecting? What's this thinking affecting in my life? How is it affecting me? You want to see what's this doing to you. Is it helping? Sometimes, we forget that. We think of negativity as, it's just negative. It's dark, it's black, it's horrible. But remember, it can be a defense mechanism. So is it helping you to protect you? Is it protecting yourself? Um, you know, is it based around your fear of something? So you have to look, how is this helping me? As well as how is it not helping me? It can't be just, one way or the other. It can be, is it helping me in some way? That's the benefit. What am I getting out of this? Or is it being unhelpful? Is it upsetting me? What emotions is it bringing up? Is it being destructive towards my life? Am I not fulfilling my goals as a result? Is it blocking me in some way? What's really going on, and what script am I feeding here? So your script, is the stories that we tell ourselves, and we fulfill them by using, in particular, negative thinking. So, what are we feeding here with these scripts? Then we have to go on to step 4, which will be, or point 4, which will be replacing the negative thought with a more positive one. You can't just challenge it, and then, because that creates a kind of a void, because you're then deleting it. You're kind of going, no, I'm not going to think that way anymore. That's a delete, and it creates a void. And if you don't fill the void, what usually happens is it'll fill back in with the negative stuff, and we don't want that. And as I say to when I'm training people, I say to them, look, you want to push it out. It's better to push it out than to create a void and then try and scramble to fill it. So when you're challenging it, you also need to replace it with a more positive thought. Because, we're recognizing that this is a habit. We're recognizing that this is a tape that is playing in our head. And that tape wasn't there when you were born. It built up over time, usually influenced by others around you. So if we can recognize that, and you can understand that, habits can be changed and tapes can be rewritten. I'm giving away my age there, because I'm thinking of the old cassette tapes. We used to be able to rewrite over them. So something like, I will not succeed at this can be replaced by, I could succeed if I tried. Something very simple. And you need to do it. So it's an affirmation. It is affirmation, and they do work. An awful lot of sports people use them. They use them in conjunction with visualizations. You'll see celebrities using them in conjunction. They want to be able to see this succeed. They talk themselves into it. And that's what you're doing. You're talking yourself into a more positive frame of mind, and you're talking yourself into doing things. And that's what the visualization, or visualizations do that as well. But when you attach an affirmation to it, and that's what you're talking about, positive talk, you're rewriting it with positive talk. It's a positive affirmation. So I will succeed. I can succeed. I can do this. I can do it. Simple things, simple affirmations like that are very powerful. I'm good enough. An awful lot of people, you'll find that they feel they aren't good enough. Underneath all that low self-esteem and lack of self-confidence, they don't feel good enough. So using affirmations would be one of the ways we would tackle that negative thinking. But you need time and you need patience with yourself to do this, and practice. It needs to be repeat, 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 repeat. You can't do a one-off challenge. You can't do a one-off reflection. It does take time and practice and patience to do it, in order, as I said, your ultimate goal is to make it automatic, on the go, a challenge. In other words, you notice you're doing it, and everybody does it. Everybody has negative ruminations. You notice you're doing it, but you stop it in its tracks. You say, no, that's not true. I can do this. And you go forward and you take action. And that's when it becomes automatic. And it does take practice. And that can be the hard work, is making it, countering it and making it automatic. In saying that, you should be able to do it within a matter of weeks. It doesn't take months and months and months. If you are consistent and you do a little bit every day, then you should be able to change it in a matter of weeks. And the last point is, then you need to follow through with action steps. So, a new experience will reinforce, new ways of thinking. So follow through on the goals, follow through on new habits, create an action plan of manageable steps. Do not take a big step. Think, pushing out the comfort zone by millimeters, not even centimeters, just by millimeters, and then moving it out in increments until it becomes a new comfort zone. So, part of your action steps will be to do your reflection every night, will be to challenge your thinking every night, will be your affirmations. But you have to plan in time in your planner, in your diary, and allocate that 20 minutes to doing that, and allocate the time as well to do your meditation. So that's the 5 points for this that I highlighted this week. As I said, if you wanted something much more detailed, then hop over to the group and join us. You can do all that in your own time. And I will leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching live, and for those that are listening in replay, thank you very much. Thank you, Deirdre, as always, for your great support. And I will see you all again next Saturday morning. Thank you.